Hi everyone, welcome to Chef Din's cooking tutorials. Here I'm going to show you how to prepare your ingredients, mix your spices and then cook the dish. Please pause the video now and get together all the ingredients you will need to create this dish. If you have not subscribed to my channel, now is the time to subscribe. Hit the notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. So let's not waste any more time and let's cook. Hi, I'm Chef Din and today I'm going to make a pizza dough because I've got friends coming round and they all fancy a pizza, so I've decided to use my old recipe which I had many years ago, taught to me by a pizza chef, and now I'm going to show you how it's done. We're going to ferment it twice to give it maximum flavour to the dough. So first we have 300 mils of water in this bowl. It's at room temperature, so in this we're going to put the yeast. That's 5 grams of yeast, and also about 10 grams of honey as well, just to help the yeast the kind of natural way to ferment. So let's mix all that in, get all that out. Then we're going to put 300 grams of just plain flour I'm using. I haven't got the 00 flour, but I found that this all-purpose flour I use here is very good. It's about 12% protein, or 12.5% protein. So mix that in well. I'm going to mix this really well. I've got 300 mils of water. We've got 5 grams of yeast and 10 grams of honey. So in this I'm going to put 300 grams of flour. So we give that a good mix. This is the first stage of our fermentation, so it's going to really make this pizza dough nice. So give that a good mix. And that's it for today. We're going to cover this up with cling film. If you've got a container with a heavy or airtight lid, that's perfect, but I haven't. I'm going to just use this bowl and then right, that's it. Now we'll cover it up and we'll leave this out for an hour, and then we'll put it in the fridge. It's always best to use a knife, much easier. Okay, that's fine, nice and tight. We're going to leave this for 1 hour, then we're going to put it in the fridge overnight, and we'll come back to that tomorrow. Right, now we come to the second stage. So get yourself a big bowl, and in this bowl put 300 mils of warm water, about finger temperature. In this put your 2 teaspoons of salt and about 15 grams of olive oil. Give that a really good mix now, and incorporate everything into the water before we add our dough mixture which we had in the fridge overnight. So what we want to do is mix all this in really well in the water. So I use a whisk. You can do it by hand if you want, whichever way you find easy to incorporate all this into the water. We have to do this well before we add our flour, basically. So give it a good mix. It'll take a good 5 minutes really, just to get everything in the water nicely mixed. So as you can see, it's a bit what do you call it? I'm going to put the whisk to this and give it a good whisk. This I find it's much easier for me. So incorporate everything like this first, and then we'll come back to it. And get the remainder of your flour, that's about 700 grams. I'm going to sieve this straight into it. So you can sieve the flour beforehand, or you can sieve it just like I'm doing now, and get all that in there. And what we're going to do is mix all this up nicely and form a dough. I've speeded this up to save a little bit of time, but what you want to do is basically get everything together in the bowl first. Then once that's done, take it out the bowl and just go up and down with the palm of your hand, just pushing it out and bringing it back, and so on for a good 10-15 minutes, so it forms a good structure to the dough, which is very important. Otherwise it'll just kind of have no structure and just fall apart, and we don't want that. So just give it a good knead in this dough before we put it on one side to rest. Right, we're nearly there now, and it's looking good. What you need to do now as you finish off, just pull it towards you a few times, holding at the bottom to create the ball. Now what we're going to do is just cover that with the bowl for about 30 minutes to let it rest before we get to the next stage. Right, after 30 minutes, what you want to do is find yourself an airtight container. I found this one. First, you want to oil it first with a little bit of olive oil so it doesn't stick anywhere. And put a little bit olive oil on your hands as well, because we're just going to stretch and fold this a couple of times before we put it into our container, which will go in the fridge overnight for about 24 hours. So this is a process what takes 2 days to get the dough ready, and on the third day we will make our pizzas. So I started this process on Saturday. My friends are coming on Monday, so Saturday, Sunday, then Monday I shall make the balls and leave them out to get to room temperature and ferment a bit more, and then basically make our pizzas. I'm just covering with a little bit of oil, and I've already covered the inside of this container with oil, so give it close and then put it in the fridge, and that's it. It's done. Now it's the next day now. This is Monday, so I'm getting everything ready. I've got the mozzarella here, so what I'm going to do is chop it into like half inch or 1 centimeter piece, like you see, then slice it again 1 centimeter, and what I'm going to do is leave it in the sieve and put it in the fridge, so the remainder water will drain from this. So I've done this in the morning, and I'm going to make the pizza about 6 o'clock this evening. So just put it into a sieve like this in a bowl, and then cover it with cling film and just leave it in the fridge, and that's done. Right, now it's about 3 o'clock, and I'm going to make my dough balls. This has been sitting out for about an hour before I'm going to make the dough balls, and basically what I've done is left it out in room temperature for about an hour. So I'm going to make the dough balls and let them sit outside in room temperature for about a couple of hours, so they'd be just right to make the pizza at 6 o'clock. So I've taken the dough out of the fridge about 2 o'clock. I've let it sit outside for 1 hour, and now I'm about to make the balls at 3 o'clock, and then basically they're going to sit out for 2 to 3 hours at room temperature to ferment the last fermentation before we make our pizza. So watch how I do it. It's quite straightforward, really. It's not difficult. Once you've done this a couple of times, you should get the hang of it. Now turn it out, and what we want to do is put the bottom side down. So what I've done is tipped it out, so the bottom side is on the top, but what we want to do is turn that bit I've cut upside down first, and then make our dough balls like so, and go in with it like this. If you're an expert, they just pop it out. I'm not an expert in making pizza. This is not my field, but they still turn out great. So now the pizza chefs, I see they just pop it out as if it's no effort at all, but I haven't got that skill, so I just do it this way. It works, it's the same, but make sure you weigh them out all the same. So I making the balls about 250 to 260 grams each ball, and just turn it into it and close it all up so it's nice and stitched up, and that's it. Your dough balls are done. It's a bit like making naans as well, same similar really. So give it a good, and that's it. Put two in a bowl like this, a tray, and then we have to cling film it. Make sure it's airtight when you cover it with cling film, because we don't want any air getting to it. So just carry on doing this and make all your balls up. Right, in a saucepan, put a quarter of a cup, that's 1/4 of a cup of extra virgin olive oil, and then get yourself 2 cloves of garlic, large 2 cloves, about 10 grams in weight, and first slice it into small pieces, and then basically with the back of the knife just keep rubbing it back towards you until you get a really nice paste. Now I made a mistake here. What I want you to do is first put in the anchovies, not the garlic, because the garlic seems to cook too quick, and I forgot the procedure. So put your anchovies in first into the oil, and once that's all melted in, then put the garlic, because what I had to do is basically add some tomato sauce into this, because after I've added the anchovies, I noticed that the garlic was getting too well caramelized, and what happens there, afterwards it would go black and it would go bitter. So I've had to add a couple of large spoons of this tomato puree which I've made up, and to stop the process of the garlic from going from golden to black. So that's what you must do if you see something like this happen. But in future, just put the anchovies in the oil first, melt them down, and then put the garlic. This is the best way to do it. Unfortunately, I forgot my own recipe method. That's why I write it down, but I didn't write this process down. But now you know how to do this, then just follow these steps. Once you've done this, then what we're going to do is basically add the rest of our tomato puree into this, and we're going to cook this for a little while. Add some I'm going to just throw this little bit of tomato sauce I had left over from my ragu the other day instead of throwing it away. We're going to also put in a couple of teaspoons of tomato paste as well. So this is a nice brand I've found here, but find yourself a good quality tomato paste and put it in. Give that a good mix and incorporate everything into it. And then we're going to add all the other different spices. Right, now add 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. So this will just to give a little bit of hint of sweetness, but don't worry about that because we're going to also add other spices to this. This is my twist on my tomato sauce, what we're going to use on the pizza. You have to try this. This is really nice, and you'd be surprised how tasty it is. The friends I had who come round, that's chili powder I'm putting in. That's just about a teaspoon of hot chili powder. so the sweetness and the chili will give a good balance. And I'm putting in some oregano, and we're going to also put some thyme in there as well, and at least a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of black pepper. Just mill that in, and all this incorporated will give a really tasty flavour. Now what we want to do is basically cook this for a good hour, so it really softens up and cooks well. So what we want to do is basically bring it to the boil and then turn it right down to the lowest point, maybe number 1, number 2, and just let it bubble away gently for a good 1 hour. Keep an eye on it doesn't dry out too much. If it does, just add a little bit of water, but not a lot, maybe a couple of tablespoons or something. That's the basil gone in, so that'll give it a nice flavour, and that's it. The sauce is done. Now my friends will be here soon, so what you want to do is, once it's done like this, as you can see, it looks really delicious, let it cool right down so it's cold. Now my friends are here, and I'm about to cook my pizza. So as you can see, the dough is nicely fermented and it's nicely ready. I'm using semolina here. What semolina does, it doesn't burn so easily like flour, and also gives a nice crunch to the pizza itself. So from the middle, push outwards, forming a ring around your dough. Turn it over and do the same. Pizza chefs who are experts at this make this procedure so easy. That's because, like everything, the more you do it, the expert you become. But I can assure you, if you follow my recipe, these pizzas will be absolutely delicious. What you see me putting on this topping is a ragu I made yesterday, where I had spaghetti bolognese. So some of it I put in a saucepan and dried all the moisture out, and then left it in a bowl to cool down so I could use it as a topping. It's really tasty topping. I'll put the link to the bolognese sauce in the description, so you can basically check out to make it. But anyway, carry on making all your pizzas. I made 6 dough balls, thinking I would only use 4 for 6 people. But guess what? At the end of the day, I had to use them all because my friends really enjoyed it, and he loves pizzas. So he said it's probably one of the best he's tasted, and he just couldn't get enough. So I used them all up, and they enjoyed it, and they enjoyed watching how to make it as well, as you can see. The most important thing is that they enjoyed eating it. So that's all you need in life, is good friends, good food, and guess what? Max also enjoyed eating it as well. He just couldn't get enough of it. So bye for now, and let me know what you think.